towards Templar possibly to deal with a bio ball?
That should have been something I considered, but I guess it wasn't really something that I thought about. It would have been wise. Here I'm having to warp in more stalkers just to barely hold off my front door. It's going to be pretty close, but I get pretty good positioning. His units forcing to clump up on the ramp, and I can get all my units to kind of focus fire them down as I continuously warp in more stalkers. But about the Twilight Council, I was planning on, because at this point I was so far behind, I realized he had a second base, so I need to do something, some kind of all-in type play, and I decided I was going to go for Dark Templars, and as you can see, the Dark Shrine going up right now. Why don't you tell everyone, Axion, why this building placement is pretty horrendous?
Well, it's pretty horrendous for the reason that you see where your like kind of clump of 4 pylons are? That's normally where a lot of people will like to scan to get a good vision of this kind of middle area of your base where you'll often have tech. Because most people can assume that you're going to have some tech by the front of your base and it creates some wall in. And then the scan really just reveals a gigantic area. And if you get anywhere near your axis, you'll see this going in. So I really would have liked to see the Dark Structure more out towards the corner. You can see where the tree and the cacti are. I would like to see it there, or maybe even just back up behind your nexus, because rarely will you see a scan up there. Although it then, against Protoss at least, it's more common against Zerg, since Zerg likes to place stuff behind their creep on there. But I just would like to see it placed in a little bit different area.
Yeah, if we look at his vision, he doesn't even know that I have this pylon here. So by my own backdoor rock. So yeah, I definitely should have thought about placing my tech buildings right there, as that really would have given me the element of surprise. But I do get the Dark Shrine up, and I build 2 Dark Templars, and because I was able to, come in his base earlier and take out a few SCVs and do a little bit of harassment, he hasn't got his main fully saturated yet. And I was able to see that there was no eBay, at least in his main, so he wasn't getting missile turrets. There was really no reason. But I knew that he probably wasn't going to have detection, because I also saw the starport did not have a tech building on it as well, so there was no Raven play. So I send this probe out to scout the top left of the map. I want to see if he's any expansions there. And let's see, where are my Dark Templars? I think I bring out, okay, so I have 2 Dark Templars. I'm a little bit starved for gas right now, but I have 1 more Dark Templar here that is going to meet them, I believe, and I'm going to wait for 1 more Dark Templar, and then I'm going to warp that in right here. And I've got 1 Stalker to give me some kind of, anti-air in case he has anything like that, kind of to protect this pylon.
And it looks like he was supply blocked there for about 30 seconds, and he has a bunch of stuff queued up on all his barracks, which is something you never really want to do, because it's just resources that you could have spent elsewhere. And he just did finish concussive shells, but does not have stim, and I really would like to see that earlier.
Yeah, and as you can see, I focus fire down all the SCVs right here, first thing, and then I go for, where am I going here? I go for this tech lab, so he cannot make any more Marauders.
Now he's throwing a tech lab down in the starport, so I can imagine he's going to be trying to pump out a pretty quick Raven. He's going to have about 200 gas, or he should. He did take away a bunch of them SCVs.
And I'm going to get a bunch of SCV kills here. And you should note that he doesn't have an orbital command here, so he only has energy from his other command center. And he scans, but he doesn't have any units there to see them. He just barely gets some units over there. But Dark Templars are actually pretty robust. They one slice these Marines, and all 4 of them are able to stay alive. One's pretty much barely escapes with 2 HP.
Yep, and it looks like he's counter pushing your natural, which you finally got up. And I'm not sure what you're going to be able to do about this. The natural's probably just going to have to go down. And you've only got 3 stalkers in your base right now, so what's going through your head?
I'm pretty much, at this point, I say, as long as I can prevent him from getting detection, I can win the game. So I warp in 4 stalkers at my proxy pylon with my last, right before my warp gates are about to go down. I also bring my probe up to the top left, and this is going to be key. I put a pylon up here, and I'm going to put a nexus down here as well. So I pretty much have given up on my base, but I know that as long as I can prevent him from getting out any detecting units, that I can win. So what I really should have done is gone back and killed this command center first thing. I should forget about the factory with these stalkers because the command center is the only thing that can scan, and I should have thought that I should have realized that ravens could come out of the starport. So that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. But luckily he does not. He has enough for one more scan. But I do start taking out the starport, and it's not going to be able to make anything. I think he's focusing too much on his attack here, which isn't necessarily his mistake because he probably thinks this is my only base. I mean, which it was. But once he realized that there's nothing left to defend, he doesn't need to pay attention here. He needs to go back to his base and worry about it getting taken out. But I'm able to clear completely out his expansion. My Dark Templars need to go somewhere right now. They are just hanging out there. My Stalker is going to take out this orbital command, and after that, he has no detection. Essentially, I can win the game as long as I can keep buildings up.
Yeah, and I would say that's definitely quick thinking right there to do the pylon and the Nexus as not to be revealed, because he has just a much larger force than you do. And had he known where you were, to loaded up some guys with medevacs, dropped off and just taken it out. But you're not being revealed, and he is, and it looks like you've got just a couple buildings left.
Yeah, I finally get my Dark Templars working away. He's only got a few buildings. I should get my Stalkers doing something here. But I get the message that he's not rebuilt his base, so I can assume that he did not have any units left. If we look at his units, actually, he only has one probe. So, excuse me, that's me. He has no SCVs, so he cannot build another command center. And I am going to take out this last supply depot here as he's finally coming back. But that's it for him in terms of buildings. So he is forced to leave the game. He was just now splitting up his forces. He was on the way up here. Had he gotten to it, it would have been close. But I would have been able to have my Dark Templar. Something I should have maybe done is left one of my Dark Templars up here. Because as he was taking out my base, I should have realized that he was gonna. If he was smart, if he knew what he was doing, he would have started searching out for my last base. So I should have brought one Dark Templar up here to at least provide some basic defense, as he still had no detection. So I could at least do some kind of damage and harass to any Marines or Marauders he dropped here.
Yeah, I would say that you had a good reaction to what was going on when your initial push eventually failed. I would have liked to see that your natural up sooner. He was ahead on bases for quite some time. I guess just kind of the little timing things, throwing down a couple gateways a little too quickly, the assimilator a little too quickly, not chrono boosting those probes in the beginning, but well done. You pulled it out with some pretty clever tactics.
Well, thank you. I was pretty impressed that I was able to win this. Really, the main thing was the tech switch. I realized that I was really far behind in terms of economy as well as army size, so I kind of had to go for some kind of all-in. Dark Templars were pretty much probably my best option. Like you said, getting out some High Templars with some Storm, that was another consideration, but I really just, after I'd seen his base earlier, I was under the impression that he'd have no detection ability, and I pushed in the back of his base just when he was pushing out, and that timing worked really well, as I was able to give up my own base. But this kind of the hero probe, because I knew when I went in with these Dark Templars, I knew that I needed to prepare for the possibility that I would lose my main. So I brought him up to the map. If I forget exactly when I did that, but quite a while ago I did that so as I would not lose. Due to lack of buildings, which was really a boon for me in this game. So.
Yeah. Well done. I hope you guys enjoyed our first cast of TalkToMeshif, as we can't speak right now. Take two. As we click on his Nexus, we can just see he has 5 probes queued. But when you've got a Nexus and nothing else, there's little else to do, so we're going to let it slide. So we hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, keep getting better.